but like intellectually, probably like I already was kind of there from the Bernie stuff because the Hillary thing was a little bit, she had all her policy stuff, like especially with healthcare. And I go back to healthcare, even though I'm not in healthcare and I'm a physics student and stuff like that, just knowing people in it. And also like I had a lot of health issues growing up, so I went to the doctor a lot and I have pretty good insurance, but even that was like a huge hassle because I mean, even with good insurance, when I still have to, I have a shrimp allergy. It's not really a big thing, but like I avoid going to the ER when I do get anaphylaxis. I usually try to take Benadryl or something like that because it's like $5,000 for us. Like if we only get like one trip a year or something like that, and not like the usual, or what even the usual is. Because and also having Canadian relatives and knowing that it's not doesn't have to be this way. I don't know. So that's a big thing for me. And then I think the person that kind of introduced me to Twitch too was like I don't really watch H3 that often, but I was doing a lot of work this summer, and he did an interview with Hassan, Hassan Piker, of course, Hasanabi, and like I was like, oh wow, I guess there is like a name for not like being left, but not being like standing girl boss. And so I kind of latched onto that and started following that community and started getting to know people and understanding how this whole thing works. So yeah, that's what kind of convinced me, I guess. But yeah,
okay.
How's it going? How's life?
You're asking me the questions. I'm asking you the questions. No sense rules.
Okay.
No. Hey.
Yeah.
No, I'm doing really well. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. I'm stoked that I get to hang out with you today. We invited you here in the spirit of building leftist unity, strength, and power. A lot of people were requesting your presence on the show, and I had to make this happen. I'm really excited. The other day we had the joy of playing a little bit of Rocket League together, just randomly, and I think it's fair to say we won every single game and didn't lose any.
Right? Yeah, we didn't lose any. At least legitimately,
Not
also,
legitimately.
Yonk. Shout out Yonk. Easy.
Yeah, shout out to Yonk, our teammate from the other day. Okay, so how are you doing today? What's up with you?
I'm chilling. I have finals this week. It's one of my dead days right now. But yeah, I'm living life, living not large. I don't know. I'm just kind of
small.
Living small. I'm gonna start like streaming regularly after my finals and stuff. So this is like the last week of me just kind of getting through,
Gotta get through it.
Yeah, true.
Gotta get true.
But yeah, that's my week. That's super exciting. I played Rocket League with you. I've been doing music stuff, as you can maybe see in the back. But like, yeah, that's about it.
What kind of music stuff do you do? Tell us about that.
I'm a jazz minor. I'm a physics major. But
wow,
I know. A lot of bombs to drop right there. No, I had to do a final project for my music production class. So I did like a cover of like Rainbow Connection with a Kermit voice. So that was I did it actually on stream. I tried to stream from my Mac, which was kind of scuffed, but it worked. It kind of worked.
Those chords go in that song. It's like
pretty fun song. I'm not gonna lie.
Just keep modulate on that
Oh yeah.
Okay.
No, yeah, for sure.
Good tune. Nice jazza. Someday, can you do the Kermit voice?
Yeah, I can do the Kermit voice. I think someday we'll find it. The rainbow. Jordan Peterson. Yeah. So that's the vibe,
Yes. Love it. All right, you're a jazz minor, physics major as well. When do you graduate?
Why I did that?
That's fine. What do you? What's the plan?
I'm graduating. I'm supposed to graduate in a week from Saturday.
Oh my goodness.
I have to pass my quantum course, which I think I'm going to do. But holy shit, that course has been so rough. Oh my god.
Quantum jazz.
Quantum mechanics. Yeah, quantum jazz. Dude, honestly, I wish it was that. Yeah, because I honestly understand like zero of that class. But C's get degrees.
Same.
If I can get the C.
Right.
Yeah,
And the one
plans.
Yeah.
After that, other than becoming like a pro Rocket League gamer, probably like always on the grind. I don't know. I'm gonna be streaming a little bit. I'm taking a break from any academia for the time being. I don't know if I'm gonna go to grad school for physics because I'm so burnt out. I'm also like not sure I like it, or if it's just like I'm so burnt out from the amount of work I got this semester and last semester. Yeah. So we'll see. And I also don't know what like subfield I would go into. And I also like all of my time I spend is like doing like this kind of thing, or watching other streams, or like just keeping up with the discourse and stuff like that on the left, because that's like what interests me more. And that and music, I guess. Also like how those things intersect and sometimes. But yeah, physics, it's cool. I think it's interesting, but like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much further I could go with it without just crying every day. Yeah.
I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
I don't know what happens when I go to that scene. We'll figure that out. All right, let's dig in here. I want to keep asking you. Have we asked you to give yourself the big shout out, like what you do? I think we've already mentioned you're a
Yeah.
student, where people can find you. They got some information there. Otherwise, what else about you should we know?
Yeah, I guess my streams are like a little if you know anyone like Anna the Nugget, it's pretty similar. I cover news usually of that day. I kind of try to go through that kind of stuff. And then I usually will cover also some reacts if people want to like have me watch something. I sometimes will do like segments on stuff. I'm still kind of figuring it out, but you know, I'm not I'm still getting new to it, I guess. I'm still getting used to it. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
I'm still figuring it out too, for what it's worth. I don't think anyone's got it figured out. Well, there's
Yeah,
like two
true.
tree people. Anna's seems to have it figured out.
Yeah, she's got to figure it out. She's gotta figure it out.
Rocketed to partnership. Way to go, Anna.
Yeah.
No, and
No,
it's good to
she spent
yeah, I'm
on
not
that.
sure if
That
you were
was
saying like she's a model or anything, but it is good to have a model. I'm just going to throw that out there. Yeah.
yeah. She's definitely like the reason, like not one of the reasons. Well, I don't know. It's been, I don't know. She's one of the reasons like I stream more like I do now. So I don't know. I don't know.
Look
Very
at
cool.
that.
I'm trying to figure my audio is kind of being weird and glitchy, so I'm trying to figure out
Uh,
my stream. But
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I can't win them all.
yeah, I
Okay.
can't win them all.
Yeah, but doesn't keep us from trying. Okay, so
True.
where are they now? What else do we know about you? What other hobbies? What hobbies do you got? Yeah.
Yeah, the jazz thing, I think mostly. I got a couple gigs this weekend, which is kind of exciting because I haven't played in. That was used to be a part-time job before. So my pandemic has completely changed.
Yeah.
I'm straight out to you because there's just no way it's gonna work on this. But
Thanks.
but like basically, I kind of just do music on the side. That was like my job before the pandemic started, and then the pandemic happened because I live in a town that's like a winery town. So there's a lot of like wine mom people, like, and so you usually get hired to play a gig like every weekend or so, and so usually have like 3 gigs and just like play piano, background music, really fun, make a decent amount. And also you get to see a lot of. I've had some horror stories from that actually. Some like, yeah, I think one of my first gigs ever. I was like traumatized. I was like 19 when this happened, and we were like playing at a winery, and some lady like came in with like her, I think her grandma, and like they were like sitting down. And they seemed fine. We're in the middle of like this jazz ballad, Misty, if you know the song. And we like
Misty.
middle of like I think Daniel, my friend's solo, who's a saxophone player, and like this lady who's been like sleeping. We're like, oh, okay, she's sleeping. Wakes up, but like is like doesn't wake up, vomits while sleeping, like red wine vomit, like and then like I was like the only one who saw it in the group for a second. I was like, is that like happening? Like am I like hallucinating right now? Because it was like this like classy winery. And this lady just starts vomiting. I'm like, oh god, yeah, classy, yeah. So that happened. And then the old lady with her was. I felt so bad. This is rough.
Too much.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, too much.
You know.
Yeah, too much. It's gonna happen. All right, so a little jazz gigs on the side. Let's keep digging in. I'm gonna ask you then. Sen's rules about your leftward bound journey. This is a little bit of a chat about how you became leftist or leftish, and sometimes people feel free to and feel comfortable enough to define their ideology. If you want to do that, you could feel free to do so. You're encouraged to. Otherwise, yeah, let's talk about your leftward bound journey.
Yeah. So basically, I think my leftward bound journey is just like I was always kind of like left leaning always because I grew up in the PNW, like north of Seattle, so very liberal part of the country. And I have a lot of Canadian relatives and stuff, so I think that was already kind of. But I didn't really question a lot of stuff. I was very much like kind of not really involved in politics a lot of my life. I just kind of like followed it, but not really, you know. And then I think the pandemic really changed that a lot. I know it changed a lot of things for a lot of people, but I think I became a lot more invested because it's very clear the impact, like the impacts were happening to people I knew, to like myself, to a lot of. It was just a lot of things happening that I hadn't paid attention to, and it was kind of forced me to pay attention to it. I think also maybe you could like point to like Donald Trump's election because that was so crazy, but I think I was just more depressed from that, less than like actually like super radicalized, I guess. Because you know, I come from a place of obviously privilege, so I wasn't really super affected by it. until like,
Mhm.
I started seeing the pandemic stuff, and it's like so obvious a lot of the issues being brought up and stuff. I don't know. That's kind of
Okay.
the main thing. I think the biggest, like, if I was going to start point to a specific thing, was
Yes.
like during the pandemic, like knowing a lot of people that I have a lot of friends who are nurses or are in healthcare, and like the treatment or the access they had to like the rollout of different like things that should have been easy or like super well done. I like testing, for example, was so messy, especially early on, and it was like basically not even. It was basically just a lot of the wealthy people that could afford testing would get tested the most, and not like nurses and people that would actually need testing a lot more frequently, and also like being overworked and stuff, and then also still being underpaid for the overworking. It was just a lot of stuff. Seeing that, like knowing people that was happening to, was like, holy shit, like, you know, this is really gross, and I want to do something about it. I want to like get more involved in this kind of stuff. Yeah,
So, like
if that makes any
healthcare
sense.
inequality, your friends told us about firsthand experiences being nurses and seeing that
Right.
firsthand.
Yeah, exactly. That I think also like just seeing like also on like TikTok. This is like a really weird tangent kind of thing, but not really a
Sure.
tangent. Is like on TikTok, like you see like all these rich people, and depending on the amount of wealth you had, it was basically you were living in a post-pandemic world, because then when their friends could just get tested and hang out. Whereas like this is like the most like selfish reason, but like whereas like me and like all these other college students and stuff like that doing work, being overworked, are just at home, sitting in your room all day, doing classes for like 10 hours a day, and then going to bed in that same place that you just did classes. It's like shitting where you eat kind of thing. And while like you see these people like fucking like living normal lives now, but while this other shit is happening, it's like you feel like you're like being gaslighted every day. You're like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know. So that's that.
That feeling of being gaslighted that's a real thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to be real.
It only took
Yeah,
me 36 years to figure that out.
yeah.
Yeah.
It happens. It happens.
Yeah.
It's yeah. No, I mean, I still have so much to learn, but that's kind of the reason I like it so much too. Is because there's a lot of yeah,
Um, let's,
yeah.
if you don't mind, I want to make sure that we give you a chance to spell it out fully. I just want to make sure we fully exhaust this topic before we move on here.
It's fair.
Yeah, sense rules. So the question I'd love to ask is what else? Anything else that you want to point to specifically? You've mentioned a couple things that you were forced to pay attention to. What
Yeah.
convinced you intellectually and pulled you to the left? What convinced you emotionally and pulled your heart
Yeah.
to the left?
I think that probably I always not always was like leftist, but I always was kind of like especially like during the 2010s and stuff when I was like kind of coming of age, critical of like the Democrats, or like I just didn't have a label for it, and I also didn't really understand that there was anything but just left and right, because that's the way it's portrayed a lot when you're growing up here. It's either you're Democrat or you're Republican, and if you don't spend the extra time to get to know the other politics and stuff like that, you kind of just have to be like, well, it's either this one or this one. There's no in between. Whereas like not even in between, but like different options on either side.
Mhm.
And on the left, especially, I always like. I mean, especially with the Hillary Clinton thing, I was not a huge fan of her. Especially with a lot of like and Joe Biden too. Like I was a huge fan of I think Bernie Sanders was really like one of the main things that really got me into it. That was a huge thing where I was at, and like a lot of friends who were getting into it, and I was like, who is this guy? Checking him out and seeing someone that actually kind of was authentic their entire lives was something that was really new to me with politics. I was like, why is there not more people like this? I don't know. And I wanted to. It's not really giving a great answer to this. I'm kind of getting a little lost in the weeds,
You're
but
nailing it.
like
I'm sorry.
I'm nailing it.
I
Okay,
switched the.
we're
Hold on. If you
chilling.
don't mind, hang for 1 second. I hit the wrong
Yeah.
button here.
Oh, we're chilling.
But
I think that like
yes, you are
like
nailing it.
intellectually, probably like I already was kind of there from the Bernie stuff, because the Hillary thing was a little bit, she had a lot of her policy stuff, like especially with healthcare. And I go back to healthcare, even though I'm not in healthcare and I'm a physics student and stuff like that. Just knowing people in it, and also like I had a lot of health issues growing up, so I went to the doctor a lot, and I have pretty good insurance, but even that was like a huge hassle, because I mean, even with good insurance, when I still have to, I have a shrimp allergy. It's not really a big thing. I like get anaphylaxis if I have it, but like I
Hmm.
usually avoid it. Uh, but like I avoid going to the ER when I do get anaphylaxis. I usually try to take Benadryl or something like that, because
Hmm.
it's like $5,000 for us. Like if we only get like one trip a year or something like that, and not like you know the usual. Or what even the usual is, because and also having Canadian relatives and knowing that it's not doesn't have to be this way. Um, yeah, I don't know. So that's a big thing for me. And then uh I'm really just kind of running off, but I think the person that kind of introduced me to Twitch too was like I saw I don't really watch H3 that often, but I was doing a lot of work this summer, and he did an interview with Hassan, Hassan Piker, of course, Hasanabi, and like I was like, oh wow, I guess there is like a name for not like being left, but not being like standing girl boss, that kind of stuff. And so I kind of latched onto that and started following that community and started getting to know people and understanding how like this whole thing works. So yeah, that's what kind of convinced me, I guess.
A
Just
little
knowing it
Hassan
existed.
action, huh?
Yeah, little
Hassan.
song. Yeah, gateway drug
Sneaking in.
for sure.
Oh, beautiful. He left pilled you, Brett pilled you.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Now, next up, what I'd love to ask you about is your be best advice.
The be best
So
advice.
yeah, we're thinking about distilling your life into general life advice or leftist related related advice or both. If it helps to think about visiting a younger version of yourself,
Mhm.
but of course, we're just thinking about people in the chat or watching the replay who could benefit from this kind of advice. What advice might you give?
Yeah, so I think that I would probably okay, like younger self, I'd be a little bit salty at sometimes. Just well, I guess like be more not more open minded because I was pretty open minded, but like I don't know. I'll go back to that. But like with just general advice, I think just listening to other people in general. I mean, like, but also being aware of when to like stop people and be like, hey, it's not okay, kind of thing. Like being able to speak up for yourself, advocating for yourself is huge. That's something that I didn't realize. Okay, if I was going to tell my younger self in chat too, if someone is like, taking advantage of you or doing anything to you or anything like that, like are always in a position where you can either advocate for yourself or like get other people to advocate for you. So there's always people that care about you and are always there for you. And it can be hard to think that and I think with academia, that's my biggest thing, especially recently with the last year, I've had to deal with a lot of, I would say like even gross people. Like I know like I had one professor that I don't even want to like go into the details. So it's not like my story to tell, but like I had to keep interacting with them basically because of scholarship money. And
Mm.
it just is really, but pushing back is really important, and you can push back. You just might need some other like help and stuff like that. And so always advocating for yourself, uh, and not really always like you can advocate for the behalf of others, but not speaking over them when like they're advocating, I guess too. That's really, really important. I think especially if you're someone that's like me, who's like coming from a place of privilege, not like jumping into issues and just like talking about them as soon as it like erupts, but instead like listening to especially people that are being affected. Instead of being like, well, actually, I saw this thing. So you know, that's really important, I think. And you can learn a lot from that. And also it's just you make a lot more meaningful relationships when you are being true to yourself. This sounds so fucking like Gwyneth Paltrow cheesy, but true. Like if you are true to yourself and like advocate for yourself while also like listening to others while they advocate for themselves. Because a lot of times you might come into conflicts with other people, and a lot of times it's just misunderstandings and stuff. If it's well intentioned, if it's good faith. Of course, it's different, there's caveats where it's like if it's like a Nazi, like that's not the same conflict. But you know, I think just listening to other people and advocating for yourself, I guess, is what my advice would be. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I tuned out that whole time, but
Yeah.
and I'm not
You're
going to get
chilling.
help for that kind of problem. Beautiful. No, wonderful, excellent advice. Sense rules. Love that. Love it. Love it. Love
Thank
it.
you.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, love it. Let's keep going. I'd love to. All right. It's the leftist inquisition. The
Oh,
leftist. Yep. Everyone loves it. Nobody hates it. And for any reason, you could skip any question. I don't take anything
okay.
personally. Um,
Yeah.
all right. So the first question: do you have a favorite word? Sense rules.
Favorite word. Oh my gosh, dude. Uh,
Mhm.
that's like tough. I looked at these last night and I was like, I'm
Yeah.
really not sure, but I'm gonna pull one out of my ass. Like I gotta know it. Like I gotta have one to my tongue. Um, fuck, dude. Uh, probably like, dang. Uh, I'm being stun locked on this. I think if I had to choose a recent favorite word that I've just
Yeah.
learned, or not even just learned, uh, cerebral. That's like a meme kind of thing. It's not maybe because like I actually like love it. It's kind of yeah. I just heard it recently. I was like, oh wow, big brain,
Big brain.
more than two syllables. Okay,
Big
yeah,
brain.
true.
Cerebral.
Cerebral.
All right. The next question, what's your least favorite word?
Least favorite word? Oh, gotta be. Okay, I'm not gonna be the bandwagon and say moist because I honestly don't think moist is a bad word. If I'm being real, I think that that's a cool sound. The OI sound is underrated. People that slander it, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I think my least favorite word is probably like, fuck. It's anything that's like, ugh. Not chunky. Chunky is like, a little bit, but chunky's a little bit. I don't know. I don't love it that much. I think it's because of the image. Maybe it's because this is like a weird tangent, but I saw someone puke. There's a lot of puking stories today, but I saw someone puke when I was in fourth grade. We had like a choir rehearsal, and like, because we had like we had a mandatory choir thing in elementary school, and some kid like we had chicken nuggets for lunch, and some kid like in the row in front of me on the bleachers thing or on the stand or whatever you call it. Like we were just in the middle of like this. I think it was like literally a SpongeBob SquarePants song. It was just so bad, and like you just like out of nowhere, he just kind of like turns down. And you're like, what's? And then I just saw the velocity of the impact. Like it was just like it had spray. It was like, and it was. I think the reason why I don't like the word chunky is because it was chunky. It was like really like you could see the bits and nuggets. I don't know, and kind of traumatized me. I guess I don't know why there's a lot of puke stories today. Because honestly, like I don't really have that big of a problem with puke. I'm not one of the people that puke like when they see puke, but I think just chunky puke is not my thing. Yeah.
You've been traumatized by puke. It's
I
good to get
guess
it
so.
out. It's
Yeah, I guess
therapeutic.
it's really
I'm
digging
providing
down
a
into some deep
service.
trauma right now.
Yeah.
I'm just like, wow, like puke really did me wrong,
Yo,
Yeah,
I'm gonna send you a bill for this. This is
yeah, probably
this is therapy.
new therapy, distraught, yeah, uncovering my like deep like childhood. I don't even know what's like the theory. Where it's like you always like have to be like traumatized, something like that. It's like and you like repress it. It's exactly what we're getting at here.
I don't like you saw your parents have sex or something. I don't
Yeah,
know, right?
but in my case, I just saw like another fourth grader puke, and that was like enough for me to like go into a shell for 18 years.
You're like antisocial because of it. You have eating problems.
Yeah, like I can't.
I
Like,
should be
walk,
laughing.
like, outside. Yeah.
Okay.
Just.
All right. That was very unwoke of me to laugh. Okay. Next.
No, you're good.
Next up, do you have a favorite drug, vice, or guilty pleasure? If you like, Sens, you can name one of each.
Probably like weed. I mean, that's I think it's because my housemates and stuff, and I don't know.
But you're developing brain, Sens rules. You're
Oh,
developing brain.
I'm 22. I'm legal. I'm chilling.
You got to wait 3 more years till your brain's fully developed.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I'm careful. I'm be careful, chat. If you ever do anything, be careful. But yeah, I think probably that is just like it chills me out. I don't do it that often, but like when I do, it's like kind of a nice social thing, with my housemates. And then, yeah, I think it's probably the same for the rest of them. The guilty pleasure would probably be trash TV. That's not like super. Maybe the two combined are like the ultimate guilty pleasure, honestly. Especially with other people that are also in the same state. It's like, okay, peak commentary, or not really peak commentary, but you're just so diluted that like anything that's like remotely clever, you're like, holy shit.
Okay,
He's
so
saying it.
that needs a term. Everything's got a term. Like if you're getting high and getting drunk at the same time, that's crossfaded. What's the term of getting? What's the term of getting high and watching trash TV?
Dude, I don't know. I really don't know. It's not cross because cross is already taken.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. Let's workshop this. We'll brainstorm sometime.
Workshop. Yeah, that'd be like a separate thing.
We'll take it to the writer's room.
Facts.
All right.
Post.
Next. Do you have a favorite cheese?
Yeah, easy. This one wasn't the easiest question. I was like, damn. I got like one answer stacked, ready to go. Pepper jack, probably with habanero in it, like that. Anything spicy, anything that has like spicy. I don't know if this is a bad take, but I love spicy cheese. So.
Oh, that's. I don't know if you know this, but I know you're like a young lefty, but you can't like spicy foods as a leftist.
You can't?
You're canceled. Show's over.
Okay.
Bye.
Good run. Bye, everybody.
We had a good run.
Interview's over. Yeah.
All right, next. Reincarnation. Sens rules. If you could come back at the end of your life as a plant or a non-human animal, and if somehow you were given the choice, what would it be?
It's tough.
It's hard.
I'm going to go purely on gut reaction here. I'm going to say sea turtle.
Oh,
Wait,
yeah.
actually, it's a good answer if I survive the main, like the first part of it, but then after that, you're chilling. You just gotta survive the beach. So apparently, I just forgot about the entire meme that was like sea turtles like getting hatched. I don't know. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's like the whole idea of like the because every other animal, it's like they're like cared for right away. Sea turtles have to like go down this like D-Day run from the beach to the ocean. But after that, I think it's because I watched Nemo as a kid and I just really liked the sea turtle character. I'm assuming I'd be like that as a sea turtle.
Yeah,
Uh,
of course.
yeah. Also, you get to live a long time. Someone said it in chat, so it's kind of a dub. Well, is it? Well, you still die, so I think it still is a dub. I think if you're immortal, that's like not a dub, but
Yeah, well,
yeah, hot
all right.
take, I guess.
Sea turtle.
Sea turtle.
Next
Yeah.
question. Next question. Oh, it's the God question. If you
Oh,
at the end of your life, instead of being reincarnated, you were at the pearly gates, and there's God, and God's speaking to you. What would you like to hear God say?
man, this is tough. Yeah, I don't know. I would probably like to just hear like if I was doing a serious answer, I'd probably say like, all my family and friends are like, okay, like, everything's okay. But then again, I don't know. I really don't know what I'd like to hear. Just that everything's okay. I think it's a comfort thing. That sounds so like, but comfort's so important to humans. Aside from that, yeah, I don't know. I would like to hear like I would actually like if I was like actually wanting like a, not a serious answer, but like kind of a serious answer would be like just to know just be able to see events that are kind of like disputed in history, like JFK assassination, like that kind of thing.
Oh,
Just to kind of like be like, do you guys know about this? Like, can I get like the replay? Because we got a weird like replay. We didn't really get the HD footage. I want to see it in 4K. Well, not because I want to see him die in 4K, just more as I want to in a Minecraft server. But like, just the mystery of it all. Yeah.
Points for
Maybe just ask
creativity on
questions.
that answer there.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, you're
I
like,
think I
wait,
just
hold
thought
on.
of
I
this
want to know
one.
how these things went down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, did that really happen the way we thought it did? That kind of thing. Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
like being able to see some stuff that I wouldn't be able to see, but I don't know how that'd work. I'm thinking about like physics now, where it's like I want to see like, this particle interaction and stuff, which we'll never be able to see because of the uncertainty principle. But you know, it's a tangent. That's why quantum class coming in to haunt me a little bit.
Are we talking about bending space-time? What's happening over here?
No, I was talking more about like observing like small. So there's one thing that's really interesting to me that I would like to know more about, but I don't know if we ever will, but maybe, but probably not.
Oh, with
Is
that attitude.
quantum entanglement, which is the idea, like I think Einstein coined it, being like spooky action at a distance, where it's like you have two particles that are in the same probability state and they're entangled. Which don't even ask me how they are. I'm not really sure how they are. I just know the math. It's like they're written and the same wave function, but like you have two in the same probability state, and then if you observe one of them, the other one, no matter what the distance is, it collapses into the same state that you observe it. And basically, like the analogy there, I guess, is like that's why they use the Schrodinger's cat thing. Is like if there's two cats and they're entangled and they're both in a box, they're probably either dead or alive, right? It's like either they're dead or they're alive in the box. And the classic thing is that they're both in the probability idea. It's like they're simultaneously dead and alive until you open the box, and then you open the box, and like they collapse into whatever state they seem to be in. And so like if it's an entangled state, I might be getting this wrong. I'm also an undergrad, so sorry for anyone that's PhD. But like if they're in an entangled state, you open the box and like you see it's dead. The other one, like across the universe, no matter how far it is, it's instantaneously also like it collapses into that function where it's like also observed to be dead. I don't know. So that's cool. I want to know how that works. I don't know why that works out like that. Yeah.
It seems like you just said Schrodinger's cat. It's in a box and it's either dead or it's dead.
Oh, sorry. Did I say dead or alive? Sorry. But really dead or dead, I guess. No.
That's a weird box.
It's a weird box,
I'm not sure I get it.
Thank you, Ricky, the great one. Yeah.
No, I'm joking. Okay. Love that.
Yeah.
I understand some of those words.
Yeah, same. Honestly, we're probably closer to understanding than you think, especially based on my grade in quantum right now. So that was more me convincing myself that I knew the material a little bit. I was like,
little study session,
little study break.
Study break. You had to get it in there. I love it. All right, all right. All right, I got a couple more. The next question sends rules. All right, so if you can imagine like a lefty a policy proposal. What am I trying to say? I need to really fix this question here. You know, a platform with policies. What policy platform would you like to see? Maybe something like a 15-point plan to help sort of unify lefties of all kinds. What policy might you suggest? What would you like to see on the platform?
Okay. Do you mean like in like the Twitch sphere, or do you mean like in like
politically?
Okay. Yeah,
nationally.
I think trying to I think the biggest thing right now too is trying to get or advocate for like radicalize more people to like the left of like liberal politics, you know, and trying to get more people like AOC, Ilhan Omar elected to every position possible, just so we can get change done and try to get policies that are actually popular. You know, because I think a lot of people already have a lot of also like rebranding a lot of, you know, how people view not even like socialism is one of the things, but just that kind of idea and trying to push back on, you know, all the like the right wing like grip hold that the United States has, like the discourse is like held by, because everyone, you know, there's so many like I think the good example that everyone points to, but I point to a lot, is like the Florida exit polls, you know, from the last election, where a lot of people supported like more social like safety nets, but they don't support socialism. And it's the idea of like it's just like there's a disconnect with socialist policies and like this like weird boogeyman of socialism, which is constructed from, you know, the Cold War, obviously, and all that propaganda that's like internalized. But in some like it's just tough to. I think the big thing is just organizing and getting people like, you know, AOC. I already said this. I'm really literally repeating myself, but like more leftists elected that, you know, can bridge that gap a little bit and get people excited. I mean, Bernie Sanders is a great example of like someone that like energized people, like especially young people. And young people, I mean, it's like, you know, another Gwyneth Paltrow moment, but they are the future. You know, they literally, like, so if we can get like, and I think there is like, if we can organize enough, we can get stuff done. We just have to, you know, might have to speed up a little bit, but yeah, that's the big thing I'd like to see, is just like more, you know, and then of course policies based on that, like Green New Deal kind of stuff is, I'm not just standing AOC here,
Okay.
but like it's like a easy point to thing, like better healthcare, obviously, like Medicare for all, and, you know, better infrastructure and investing in things like clean energy, and even not just like super clean energy, but like even like, I mean, this is a physicist part of me, but like nuclear energy would be a pog interim if we needed to do something, because it's a lot cleaner than it was in the 20th century. It's a lot more safe than it was in the 20th century. As understandable, sufficient sources of energy in the universe. So other than fusion, but that's another thing. So invest in that, invest in research in that. That's another thing I'd want. But yeah.
All right. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
A little Green New Deal in there, Medicare for all, clean energy, nuclear. Love it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Sends rules.
So stuff. Yeah.
Gotta love the stuff. I love stuff.
Gotta love the stuff. Yeah, I love stuff. Hot take, I know, but wait, not a leftist take. My bad. I don't love stuff.
All right. I just heard a loud explosion outside. I'm losing my mind today. It's all over the place over here. All right. So sends rules. I'm sure I got a couple more questions to keep us busy here. All right. What's a favorite leftist book or author of yours, or maybe a resource or whatever? Yeah.
Yeah, resource. Resource, like, I mean, resource, like, obviously all the Twitch community is great because it's a great, like, you know, plethora of ideas. A lot, I follow people from, like, I sometimes will watch some, like, libs and stuff, which is hard for me, but, like, I'll still do it just to see what the thoughts are on that side of the aisle, I guess. I also didn't really answer this earlier, but I'm more of, like, a DemSoc myself.
Okay.
Kind of between DemSoc and SocDem. I think it kind of depends on the day, honestly, but more DemSoc. I think ideally, like, I'm for democratic socialist like ideologies, but I think realistically I'm more SocDem. Still figuring that out. But I think I follow a lot of a plethora of streamers. I try to follow, you know, trying to get the different ideas. So I have some people that, like, are full on like anarcho communists that I follow that, like, you know, listen to what they have to say, and then people that are like, yeah, like I said earlier, way more moderate. And that's just Twitch. I think from like actual book and stuff, obviously, Marx, like, I remember this is more just because I had to read this for school, but like we had to read it a lot for school. But like both the Communist Manifesto itself and then like his like manuscripts, his economic and philosophic manuscripts that like led up to it, which were more unorganized writing that wasn't meant to be published, but it's
Hmm.
really good insight into like what he was trying, like not only the arguments itself of like, what is socialism, communism, that kind of stuff, but also um like looking at how to construct an argument effectively and like the rhetorical devices he uses, which I think is really interesting. Something I really like I always have appreciated about the Communist Manifesto itself is the way Marx describes communism, and he like rides this line between, because the way it's framed is you have to, that he frames it as a teleological process where it's gonna happen. It's the end goal of humanity kind of thing. It's like framed as it's going to happen. It's a matter of when, not if. And but he also frames it as like it's a necessary escape from like a construct or a system. And so, but because of that, it necessitates you can't use the language of our system to really describe it or like in detail, because by describing it in detail in the context of like capitalism or like a feudal society, it's not really a novel idea because it would come from that. So you have to, so he does this line towing of like describing it vaguely enough where he's giving some pointers to what it will be like, but not contradicting the form of his argument, which is saying it has to be new or has to be like, entirely novel, I guess, or like different from the system. It has to be revolutionary, because how can it be revolutionary if you're describing it in detail within the confines of the current system? Is the whole idea. So language itself, like I think looking at language of leftist authors and looking at how they construct arguments is super interesting, because one thing that I learned in college from a really like base leftist teacher that was amazing for politics was like that not only does the argument have to be like good, but the form of the argument should mirror and support the argument itself. So like it matters how you introduce things. It matters the order in which you say stuff, because it either will support or entirely contradict your argument, and it really matters how you do that. And I think Marx's stuff, as even if you don't agree with it, it is really consistent with how he like talks about it and how he frames the argument. He's consistent with the form, which I think is really cool to study, at the very least as a rhetorician, and at the very most like as a as a leftist, someone looking into that. Yeah, that was a long thing, but very cool.
All right. All right. All right. So, Sen's rules. My last question for you, I believe, is about streamer tips. Streamer tips. Yeah. What should streamers know when they stream?
I don't know. I'd do number one, figure out your camera mic setup before doing an interview.
Yeah.
Oh, and if you can't, host over to the person, because
thank you.
They are pog and great. But I think that like I'm really new to this still, so like I'm still trying to figure it out.
Okay.
My secrets are basically just like stream consistently, which I don't do yet. I'm kind of doing. It's really, I'm like, everyone that follows my Discord knows that it's like inconsistent, because I'm like, today at 8 p.m. Like it's like out of nowhere. It's like just like it's 7:30. I'm like, hey, by the way. But I think consistency is really important. Talking to your audience is really important. I think one thing that like I've definitely discovered, because I have some friends who are even smaller than me, and like they're just getting started with other stuff or leftist stuff, and I think it's really hard to get started when you have like 0 viewers, 1 viewer. Just pretend there are people there. I mean, that honestly worked for me for the first bit, like getting through that, because once you do get that community, it means so much more to you too. Like you start to connect with these people, and you start to like appreciate, when you see them in your chat, you're like, oh my god, like people love like big hearts. That would just another big advice. I would just like be interacting with other streamers, go into their streams, like talk to them, join their discords, because not only will you get new ideas and like maybe understand, especially on the left, to understand like different perspectives you might not have said. Like I think one of my favorite, like this is like kind of a plug for another streamer right now, but I think Shark30 or something like that. Let me get him up. Yeah, he's someone that like one of my favorite streamers right now, and like he is like a smaller but bigger than me leftist streamer that has a lot of ideas. I think they're similar to mine, but like always have like a different like nuance. And I was like, huh, like I guess I would come to that conclusion, but like he did it so fast for so like, and he just thought about it differently than me, and like that's really cool to see that. I know him, I watched him. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, he's great. And so I really, yeah, Shark 300 is good peeps. Exactly. Great peeps. So I just love, I think, just interacting with people, because even if you don't, I at the end of the day I do want to grow and I do want to like meet other people, but at the same time I'm content with like my small group right now, and I'm also content with like just being part of other people's groups, because it's so, you build so much intellectually, you do get a lot, but also like just interpersonal stuff, which is at the end of the day I think something that really matters in the grand scheme of life. Uh Maybe I'll evoke some Carl Sagan here, but like, it's we're only here for a little bit, and it's what you make it. So, and we're only like, it's only like, try to make the best change we can while we're here, kind of thing. Yeah. Wholesome hours.
All right, Sen's rules.
Yeah.
What we have now is about 10, at least 10 minutes here to chat. We can go ahead and take questions from the chat. If you have any questions for me, you're welcome to ask me. Otherwise, we get to just sort of chit-chat.
Yeah, I'm down for whatever.
All right. Well, we'll give Chad an opportunity to ask any questions. We can feel free to respond to those along the way. If you want to respond to anything, you can. You don't have to. Just ignore anything you don't want to respond to.
Yeah.
But otherwise,
No
what
problem.
else? What's grinding your gears? What's on your mind these days? What are you thinking about? What have you been streaming about and talking about? I don't know. What's that? What do you
I
want to talk
think the
about?
main thing I've been paying attention to lately is like, I haven't really been streaming out this because it's kind of happened, not that it just started happening, but like it started being covered widely and like brought to my attention more in the past couple of days, is obviously the conflict right now with the like basically fucking genocide in Palestine, or the escalation of that, especially like in the public eye in the last 2-3 days, and also the media response and the variance in it, and also how gross some of it is, with framing it as a two-sided issue. And I think finally, like, I'm not going to throw my mom to the bus. God bless her soul. She's great, but she is way more of a lib like than I am. Like, I mean, that's how I was raised too. But I think she's a good indication of like when the mainstream kind of moves farther left, because I can like talk to her about stuff and she'll be like, "Yeah, I actually agree with you," and I'm like, "Oh." And especially with the Palestine thing, like I think probably when I was younger, she might not have had the nuance because she just watched like like mainstream stuff, whereas now she is like, "Yeah, it's an apartheid state," you know. It's really messed up what's happening. It is genocide, and it's refreshing to know that like, not that we're reaching people like as individuals, but kind of as a movement, getting more people to understand and pay attention to things that are happening in the world that might not seem like they affect you, but like I think that's one thing that's beautiful about the internet, is that it's like, you know, it's kind of like the like how television was in like the civil rights movement, where it broadcasts things that are really unfortunate, but also forces people to watch. And I think there's a danger with the internet of things becoming oversaturated, or like there's so much going on with like fucking like Charles D'Armadillo and like TikTok fam, that like that shit gets drowned out. But I think that there's something about, that's so upsetting and so like poignant that we still pay attention to like the wrongs in the world, or we try to, and there's people that advocate for it despite all the hurdles. And that's great to see that, but also it's disheartening still to see like old media and mainstream groups like still try to be like, Israel and Palestine are clashing. It's just a tussle. And it's like a bunch of kids died by like a country killed a bunch of kids, you know, um, Palestinian children. And I don't know. And it's just really, really messed. That's something that's been grinding my gears, of course. I think a lot of people probably in chat will also, be familiar with that whole thing and how it's being covered. Yeah. Yeah. I think also pushing,
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No.
I'm monologue a little bit more, but I guess like just saying like also it's refreshing to see like people finally push back against the, like, not finally, but like a more collective effort, I guess, to push back on the idea that you can criticize Israel and it's not anti-Semitism. It's not the same thing at all, and it's always been a defense that somehow worked for so many years, and now it feels like it's finally breaking. Yeah.
Yeah. These are all takes I wish I'd figured out when I was your age, Sense. I'm not going to lie. This is something that I didn't break through until I was, again, just about my age, just about exactly how old I am right now. And it took watching this documentary, actually, documentary by Abby Martin, the Empire Files, Gaza Fights for Freedom. I'm not sure what it's called. I'm sorry, but
I think I found it.
Yeah, absolutely wrecked me, and
Damn.
just fucking woke me up. I don't know how else to describe it, but this light bulb went off, and I'm like, well, wow, this is completely fucked up. It's apartheid. It's occupation. They're murdering Palestinian children. It's just There's no two sides about it. Okay, yeah. So
no, exactly.
That's as far as my knowledge goes. Or my take goes at this time, I suppose. But yeah, I'm happy you brought that up too.
Yeah, so that's kind of that's someone in chat asked, will you implement Marxism, Leninism, Yonkism?
Yonk.
Of course. I mean, like, you know what? Let's talk about it.
Yonk.
One of those isms is way more important. We know which one we're talking about here. The ism of yonk, of course, is easily
right
up top. You know.
Yeah.
Pog you yonk. Unofficial like mascot of Twitch, actually. You know, little known facts.
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, I think this is a great place. Sense, to wrap it up, I'm going to give you the opportunity, one more chance. Go ahead and give yourself the big shout out. What do you do? Where can people find you?
So if you enjoyed my interview, you enjoyed my I don't even know what I would call my energy here, but my young boy energy, I guess. My as my chatters would call it, my piss drinking energy. It's a meme. I don't actually do it, guys, but it came from an Anna interview where she asked me, like, we had an argument about like soup, and I said that like soup, like some soup like has the consistency of piss, and she's like, how would you know that? And I was like, well, maybe I drink piss. And then like now it's Piss Drinkers Unite. You know, piss drinkers rise up. Copium, whatever, goth. Okay, that's my mod in chat, by the way. Wow. Slandering me. But anyways.
Yeah.
What? Piss King? Yeah. Join the Piss King. Wow, this is really my promo. But yeah, I would say that I just do like leftist stuff and reacts, news. I kind of explore my takes on things. I listen to other people's takes. I like to talk with chat. I like to is turn into like a Dr. Seuss kind of book, but you know what? Drop a follow. Follows are free, and come hang out. Five Head Gang is what we call ourselves, but honestly, it'll probably switch to the Piss Drinker Gang. So, you know, that's my spiel.
Oh my gosh! All right,
ended. You know.
All right. Sense rules again. We invited you in the spirit of building leftist unity, strength, and power. You've been a great guest. Looking forward to our next chat.
Thank you so much.
I want to encourage you to feel free to hit that link again and sign yourself up as soon as you like.
Yeah.
Well, I would love to continue the chat and keep this going. You're a good dude, and you know, if we don't get an interview, we can just play some Rocket League here and there.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what I was thinking. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna go pro one day. We just gotta like figure out the uniforms, team name.
Maybe next time it could be a twofer. We could play.
True.
During the interview.
Although, like, without Yonk, it's like
we gotta get Yonk.
As long as Yonk is there.
Without Yonk, we're trash. I'm not gonna lie.
Like,
we're not that good.
Like, true. Honestly, Yonk is like kind of god tier. It's like the Stig for Top Gear, if you're familiar. Maybe not. Okay, that I tried. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Anyway,
thank you. Sense rules. I really appreciate Yonk be with you. We're gonna say peace and of course solidarity. Looking forward to the next time we get to talk. See you. Thanks so much. All right.
Bye.
Oh god. Yikes. Where is it? There it is. All right. That was Sense Rules. Love them. Hey YouTube, you're watching a clip from my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/iDanSimpson, where you can follow for free and subscribe for only $5 a month. Thanks for watching.